if in the morning, like most people these days, you have mostly starches and sugars, let's say you eat a bowl of cereal and an orange juice, or some bread with a jam on it, or granola with banana and honey, mostly starches and sugars, that is a big, big, big glucose spike in the morning. The problem with this is that if you have a big glucose spike in the morning, your hunger levels are gonna come back up way more quickly, and your energy is going to be out of whack for the whole day. With a big glucose spike at breakfast, you are hurting your mitochondria. Your mitochondria are the little factories in your cells in charge of making energy, and a big glucose spike hurts them, prevents them from making good energy for you to be able to do the stuff that you want to do. So sweet breakfast, no, you should really move on to a savory breakfast. It's going to change your life.
Meet Jessie Inchauspé, a French biochemist, entrepreneur, and New York Times best-selling author renowned for her groundbreaking works Glucose Revolution and The Glucose Goddess Method. At the heart of her work lies the revelation of blood sugar's pivotal role in every facet of life, along with ingenious hacks to optimize it. Armed with a BSc in mathematics from King's College London and an MSc in biochemistry from Georgetown University, Jessie continues to lead the charge in revolutionizing health education worldwide.
So your mitochondria are these little tiny factories that live inside of your cells. You have trillions of them in your body. And the job of your mitochondria is very simply put to turn your food into energy. Specifically, your mitochondria turn the glucose from your food into energy. So if they work well, everything goes great. You get up in the morning, you're full of energy, you're excited, you have your big to-do list, you're excited to finish it. But if your mitochondria are not working well, you're exhausted. And picking up your kids from school is way too tiring. Going grocery shopping, no thank you. At 2 p.m., you already are wondering, when the heck are you gonna be able to go lay in bed and fall asleep? So that is usually because your little mitochondria are not working. And most of us are in this situation where they're trying the best that they can, but unfortunately, because of the way we're eating, our mitochondria are not working properly.
In today's video, with the help of Jessie, we will unveil 5 hacks that are extremely beneficial in destroying your sugar cravings, essentially leading you to live healthier. We all love sugar, whether in our juices, cereals, drinks, or chocolate. Sugar releases dopamine, that feel-good hormone we have all come to learn to crave. However, these cravings can go beyond our control and end up hurting us a lot. Let's delve into the secrets of breaking free from the grip of sugar addiction as we unveil effective hacks and habits to curb your sugar cravings and regain control over your health. Number 1, reorder your food.
The easiest hack, which is very simple for people who actually don't want to change, what they're eating, because that can feel a bit daunting at the beginning, is actually simply looking at the order in which you're eating the constituents of a meal. So in the studies, they found that just by eating your food in the right order during a meal, you can reduce the glucose spike of that meal by up to 75%, while still eating the exact same foods. And this has a tremendous impact on your physical and your mental health. And so the correct order is, during a meal, vegetables first, proteins and fats second, and then starches and sugars last. And one of the main reasons this works in reducing the glucose spike of the meal is thanks to the effect of the fiber that is in the vegetables. And that fiber will reduce the speed and the quantity of glucose absorbed for later on in the meal. And then proteins and fat second. We know those also slow down gastric emptying, digestion speed. And so overall, if you're eating your meal in that correct order, you'll have a smaller glucose spike. And that means fewer cravings, being less hungry a few hours later, fewer energy dips, and then whatever symptoms you're contending with, maybe it's difficult menopause symptoms, maybe it's like acne, maybe it's just generalized inflammation, those will also be able to be reduced when you use the food order hack.
For many people who are struggling with strong sugar cravings and don't want to change what they eat, this food hack can be the best one for them. But what does it entail? The popular logic around taming your cravings for sugar is to have you switch foods or cut down on certain foods and snacks. However, according to research carried out by Diabetes, Obesity and Metabolism, by rearranging what and how you eat your food, you can cut down how much sugar is absorbed into your body. So, how do you do it? First, start with fibers foods that are packed with fiber, a complex carbohydrate like vegetables, help your body digest slowly. This slow digestion helps regulate the release of glucose into your bloodstream, preventing the spikes and crashes that can trigger cravings. Fiber has also been shown to reduce the rate at which you get hungry. This would lead to a reduction in the desire to snack on sugary options later. This also helps to maintain a more balanced blood sugar level throughout your day, preventing dramatic spikes and drops that can lead to intense sugar cravings. Then, add proteins and fats. After your veggie intake, you can add a layer of protein and fats as a defense. Since protein takes longer to digest than carbohydrates, this makes you feel fuller and less likely to munch on carbs, thus preventing blood sugar spikes. Healthy fats, like those found in avocado or nuts, can also contribute to a feeling of fullness and may help regulate insulin sensitivity, a hormone crucial for blood sugar control.
Hack number 1 is eating your food in the right order. Scientific studies have shown us that if we eat the elements of a meal in a particular order, we can reduce the glucose spike of that meal by up to 75%. Now, why is it important to reduce glucose spikes? Because most of us have glucose spikes on a daily basis, and we don't even know it. But these spikes are creating symptoms: fatigue, cravings for sugar and chocolate and cookies, not sleeping very well, inflammation, hormonal issues like PCOS or difficult menopause. Every glucose spike also inches us closer and closer to developing type 2 diabetes.
A 2019 study published in the journal Nutrients investigated the impact of meal order on blood sugar control in people with type 2 diabetes. The study found that participants who consumed vegetables before carbohydrates experienced lower post-meal blood sugar levels compared to those who ate carbohydrates first. This shows that by simply eating your veggies, proteins, and fats first, before eating your carbs, you can greatly reduce your cravings for sugar and even manage your blood sugar levels. But if reordering your meals is too much trouble, this next hack would suit you better. Number 2, use a veggie starter.
And then after your veggie starter, eat whatever you usually eat, and the glucose spike of your meal is going to be much smaller than if you didn't have the veggie starter. And you're going to eat more in the process as well and help your body and your health at the same time. So it's kind of a win-win situation.
Do you know that just by adding a vegetable-based starter to every meal, anything from a simple salad to steamed vegetables, you can greatly reduce your urge for sugar? How does this work? Everyone knows that vegetables are the champion of fiber, which is a vital nutrient for blood sugar control and feeling full. So, as you digest vegetables, the fiber slows down the absorption of glucose from your entire meal. This prevents blood sugar spikes and subsequent crashes, which are often the reasons behind intense sugar cravings. This means that you should reach for a vegetable anytime you want to have a meal, any meal. Munching on vegetables, say broccoli, carrot, or even fruits like avocado or apple, absorbs water in your digestive system, creating bulk and delaying stomach emptying. This keeps you feeling satisfied for longer.
The other hack is just add a starter that is built around vegetables, a vegetable-based starter to all of your meals, and then eat your regular meal as you would usually. That's just another way to use that same principle of fiber first to impact your glucose curve. And so let me give you an example. If you're having like a mixed dish, so let's say you're having, pasta with chicken in it and maybe, Parmesan and some cauliflower, you can just add a veggie starter like a green salad, maybe with some vinegar at the beginning of the meal, and then eat the mixed main dish and still get a really big impact. And that'll be better than not having the vegetable starter.
Having a vegetable starter also has a crowding out effect, where the fiber in the veggie essentially reduces the space available in your stomach for other foods. This makes you less likely to consume more of whatever is coming after your veggie starter. A 2023 study investigated the impact of a vegetable starter on food intake in healthy adults and the link to glucose levels. The study found that participants who consumed a vegetable soup before a pasta meal ate significantly less pasta compared to those who didn't have a starter. A similar report on the AOL website showed that a pre-meal veggie boost can promote portion control and be very beneficial in managing one's weight. Not everyone likes veggies, so it is perfectly understood if you think this hack would not work for you. This next trick, however, might do the trick. But before we move on, please take a moment to subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon. If you have any video topic requests, let us know in the comments below. Number 3. Practice the vinegar trick.
The vinegar hack. So when I first discovered the science, I was quite surprised and taken aback. I thought, okay, this is maybe another just social media weird fad thing. But actually there's some really good clinical trials showing us that 1 tablespoon of vinegar in a tall glass of water before a meal can reduce the glucose spike of that meal by up to 30% without needing to change what you're eating during the meal, just by adding the vinegar drink. So try this before a meal that contains carbs, starches, or sugars. And the way this works is because vinegar contains acetic acid. And acetic acid is a very cool molecule that slows down the breakdown of carbs in our digestive system. So again, slowing down how quickly carbs are gonna go from our mouth to our bloodstream. That is the whole point. That's the whole thing we're trying to do here. Reduce the amount of glucose we're giving to our body and reduce how quickly that glucose is arriving in our bloodstream with all the hacks. Now, any type of vinegar works. The most popular ones being apple cider vinegar, white wine vinegar. You can also do rice vinegar, cherry vinegar, whatever you want. The only one I would recommend you avoid is the very syrupy balsamic glaze, the sort of Italian aged one, because that one has quite a bit of sugar in it. So it might negate the positive effects.
Did you know that by just having a vinegar drink, you can greatly reduce how much sugar your body absorbs? For many centuries and in different cultures, vinegar has been seen as an important part of their diet and medicine. But now, scientists have been able to show that due to acetic acid, the primary compound responsible for its characteristic sour taste, vinegar can fix sugar cravings and its subsequent spikes and dips. This makes it extremely important to keep your blood sugar level balanced all through the day. Studies have shown that acetic acid may enhance the body's ability to absorb glucose from the bloodstream into muscle cells. This improved uptake can help prevent blood sugar spikes, which are often followed by crashes that can trigger cravings. According to a 2020 study, vinegar appears to affect the rate at which your stomach empties, which could lead to a feeling of fullness for a longer period. This can help you resist reaching out for those sweet snacks between meals.
So I want to mention vinegar because this was quite shocking to me when I saw, the clinical studies that were looking at the impact of vinegar on your meal's glucose spike. So if you have a tablespoon of vinegar, it can be any type of vinegar. Avoid balsamic glaze because that has a bunch of sugar in it. If you have a tablespoon of vinegar before a meal, either in a tall glass of water and you drink it, or as a dressing on your starter, for example, you can curb the glucose spike of that meal by up to 30% without changing anything of what you're eating during the meal. So you're just adding this vinegar ingredient. And the way it works is because vinegar contains a magical molecule called acetic acid that has a few impacts on the body. 1, it slows down the breakdown of starch into glucose. And 2, it encourages your muscles to uptake more glucose as it arrives in your bloodstream. And so as a result, the glucose spike of your meal is smaller. But you didn't change anything about what you were eating. And there's some really early studies that show, for example, the impact of just adding 2 vinegar drinks a day on glucose levels, on diabetes markers, also on polycystic ovarian syndrome symptoms. And they seem to have a pretty good effect. Small studies, of course, for these specific diseases. But overall, we understand the mechanism and it's really easy. And personally, this has helped me hugely with my cravings. If I have a vinegar drink before a meal, I know I'm going to be curbing those sugar chocolate cravings that usually happen for me an hour and a half after meals. And something else that I find really cool about this topic is that vinegar has been used for millennia in many cultures around the world, for example, in Iran. And people know culturally that it's a healthy thing to have in our diets, but they didn't understand why. And now we have some clues that it has something to do with glucose levels.
Further research also indicates that acetic acid may influence hormones related to appetite control. These hormones, including ghrelin, which is the hunger hormone, and leptin, which is the hormone that is responsible for you feeling full, can be impacted by blood sugar fluctuations. Vinegar has been shown to regulate these hormones somewhat potentially leading to decreased hunger and reduced sugar cravings. Apart from taming your cravings, vinegar can also help you improve your blood sugar control. A frequent spike in blood sugar level can lead to insulin resistance, a condition where your body becomes less efficient at using insulin to regulate blood sugar. Other studies have shown that acetic acid may improve insulin sensitivity, leading to better blood sugar control and potentially reducing cravings associated with blood sugar dips. How can you incorporate this into your daily routine? 1. You can add a tablespoon of apple cider vinegar with water and drink it before a meal. 2. You can add your vinegar to salad dressings or marinades. 3. You can also drizzle a small amount of vinegar over cooked vegetables. Vinegar is sour and definitely not suited for everyone's palate. This next hack, however, works for anyone and everyone. Number 4, exercise. Now don't freak out. No one's telling you to go to the gym or do time on your treadmill. Over the years, we have become inundated with news reports and studies that show how important working out is to the human body and health. But do you know that a little bit of physical activity or light exercise after your meal can deal a lasting blow to your sugar cravings?
After you eat, move. What do I mean by after you eat, move? Well, every single cell in our body uses glucose for energy. So if you sort of shake your fingers, like I'm doing here, your finger cells are going to be burning glucose in order to be able to contract and make this movement. So the more and the harder a muscle is told to contract, the more glucose it's going to need in order to do so. So we can use this to our advantage. And here's the hack. After one meal of your day, use your muscles for 10 minutes. Very simply. Within 90 minutes after the end of your meal, move, get up, go for a 10-minute walk. You can clean your apartment, you can walk your dog, you can do your laundry, you can do the dishes, yes, that counts. Oh, you can do this really easy hack. So if you're sitting down, you put your feet on the ground and then you raise your heels. I was gonna say calves. You raise your heels up and down. You're doing calf raises. And as you're doing calf raises, you're activating a muscle in your calf called the soleus muscle. It's right here. And the soleus muscle is very good at soaking up excess glucose from your bloodstream. So let's say you're at work and you want to do the movement hack, but you also, don't want to just do squats in the middle of a conference room. So you can do this under your desk. You can put a little timer, 10 minutes, even during a meeting. Nobody will know. Nobody will know. And you're going to be helping your glucose levels and your body through this very simple movement.
Physical activity helps your body utilize glucose for energy. Taking a walk or doing some light exercise after a meal can help manage blood sugar levels and minimize sugar cravings. The science behind sugar cravings is very simple. After every meal you eat, your body breaks down carbohydrates into glucose, leading to a rise in blood sugar levels. This rise or spike is typically followed by a gradual decline. However, sugary meals often cause a more dramatic spike, followed by a sharper drop. This rapid fluctuation in blood sugar is the main reason behind sugar cravings. What happens when you do a little bit of exercise after a meal is that your muscles burn up the glucose dumped in your body. This helps prevent the blood sugar spike from becoming as dramatic and reduces the subsequent dip that fuels cravings. According to studies, regular physical activity can improve your body's sensitivity to insulin, a hormone responsible for transporting glucose from your bloodstream into your cells. This improved sensitivity works to keep your blood sugar levels within a healthy range, further reducing the likelihood of cravings. Exercise also helps regulate ghrelin and leptin, two very important hormones that stimulate hunger and the feel of being full. Taking a 10 to 30-minute walk after a meal fixes up the possible hormonal imbalance that the glucose in your body causes. This would result in you having less cravings for sweet things. So how do you go about it? You could take a brisk walk after your meal, as mentioned earlier, or you could do a short session of light jogging, swimming, or cycling. According to Jessie Inchauspé, you can as well just wash the dishes or clean up the house for the same effects. Easy peasy. Number 5. Have a savory breakfast.
Best way to start your day and cut out all of your cravings for the entire day is to give your body all the protein that it needs for breakfast. Well, maybe not all the protein that it needs, but at least a big chunk so that you significantly cut down that hunger and those cravings. And that's why One of my number one recommendations is to start your day with a savory breakfast. A savory breakfast, as I define it, is a breakfast built around, you guessed it, protein, with some fat if you want. You can add a little bit of starch for taste, like some bread or potatoes, but avoid having anything sweet in the morning, except if you want for taste some whole fruit. So we're gonna cut out the juices, we're gonna cut out the pastries, we're gonna cut out the granola, the breakfast cereal, and we're gonna focus on protein. And trust me, this completely changes the game. If you're somebody who's struggled with cravings their whole life, switching to a savory breakfast that gives your body protein, okay, and keeps your glucose levels steady is the key to feeling better, and you'll feel better in a matter of hours. Your days will be completely changed. So a savory breakfast is helping us deal with these two scientific things that we just learned. One, that steady glucose is the key to not activating that craving center in your brain. And two, that the protein leverage hypothesis tells us that if we eat protein in the morning, we're gonna have way fewer cravings for the rest of the day.
If you want to do away with and control those sweet cravings of yours, you might have to switch up your choice of breakfast meals. Let's face it, the chance of us having a sweet meal for breakfast is very high. But the problem with this is that it would leave you craving sugar all day and functioning below your normal levels. To fix this, you can switch up your breakfast to a savory one. A savory breakfast is typically lower in carbohydrates and higher in protein and healthy fats. This is very important as proteins and fats are digested more slowly, leading to a more gradual rise in blood sugar and providing sustained energy throughout the morning. This stable blood sugar level has been found to translate to fewer cravings and better overall focus. Compared to a sugary meal, a savory breakfast is higher in minerals and vitamins. Additionally, a savory breakfast helps regulate the release of glucose in the bloodstream. It prevents glucose spikes during the day because growth hormones and cortisol levels are elevated in the morning.
Have a savory breakfast. This is probably the most difficult hack for a lot of people, but also the most powerful hack to start with. So if you're feeling adventurous and you really want to see quick impact, I highly recommend you start with the savory breakfast hack. And this is what the savory breakfast hack is. So first of all, if in the morning, like most people these days, you have mostly starches and sugars, let's say you eat a bowl of cereal and an orange juice, or some bread with jam on it, or granola with banana and honey, mostly starches and sugars, that is a big glucose spike in the morning. The problem with this is that if you have a big glucose spike in the morning, your hunger levels are gonna come back up way more quickly, and your energy is gonna be out of whack for the whole day. With a big glucose spike at breakfast, you are hurting your mitochondria. Your mitochondria are the little factories in your cells in charge of making energy, and a big glucose spike hurts them, prevents them from making good energy for you to be able to do the stuff that you want to do. So sweet breakfast, no, you should really move on to a savory breakfast. It's going to change your life. Here are the guidelines for a savory breakfast. It should be built around protein. Sure, it can be eggs, but it can also be Greek yogurt, it can be nuts, it can be leftover meat or fish from your dinner, it can be tofu, it can be protein powder in a smoothie, etc., etc., etc. Then add some fat, add a little bit of fiber if you want. You don't really have to add too much fiber in the morning because I know that veggies in the morning feels a little bit intense for some people. And then you can have, for example, some starch in there, so a little bit of bread, some potatoes, but importantly, a savory breakfast should contain nothing sweet, except, if you want, whole fruit for taste.
Sweet breakfasts frequently contain high levels of refined carbohydrates, such as sugar and white flour. Your body quickly converts these carbs into glucose, resulting in a significant spike in blood sugar levels. This increase is frequently followed by a collapse, leaving you exhausted and more prone to sugar cravings throughout the day. Switching to a flavorful breakfast would fix this. So, how do you go about this? 1. Rather than having a waffle or sweet pancake for breakfast, try to start your day with a nutritious, savory meal. It will help in controlling your blood sugar. 2. Steer clear of adding sugar to your food, beverages, or even a savory breakfast. This will stop blood sugar increases. 3. You can also squeeze some lemon juice into your savory dishes as an option. This will help facilitate a slower rate of sugar digestion. Now, if you would like some savory breakfast recipes that can destroy your sugar cravings, I have a separate video where we break this down in even more depth, so watch this video next.